So let's talk about anxiety. And this is going to go right into if you're ascending, you're trying to work on your emotions, your emotional guidance system. If you're trying to bring in new energies, like that's a big theme right now, is trying to prepare ourselves for new energies. Well, this is a very tangible way to look at anxiety, because we kind of just bottle up anxiety as this bad thing in the culture. But when you start looking at it in the context of us becoming a vessel that is, we're working to vibe higher, we're trying to raise our vibration. And so that can be very mystical sounding, that can also be new agey, but it is very tangible when we start to re-lens the idea of anxiety and how we process it. So just look very easily at our paradigm A culture, which is, if I have anxiety, I need to go get a pill. I got to go get something. I got to go to the liquor store. I got to go get cannabis, whatever it is, to get through this anxiety. And people carry this all over here. I have high anxiety, and then they'll even go to a therapist and get confirmation, and then walk with that problem the rest of their life. But if we look at anxiety as something different, we're not just looking at it as the thing that we're stressing and worrying about, but it's actually the element of growth, that when these new vibrations and these frequencies come in, like, our nervous systems are going to be like, what is this? It's not familiar. And so we'll say, well, gosh, I've been working to raise my vibe, and now I'm into this. Now I've got this anxiety that I'm doing. Just re-lensify this. Re-look at the way you look at the anxiety as a tool of ascension, as a tool of expansion. And so I actually discovered this on using marijuana. I had found myself in kind of a lull in my life, and so I was using marijuana in order to get through time. But sativas would always get me anxious, so I stopped smoking sativas and would only do indicas, and that made me all happy. And then it occurred to me that sometimes I would still get anxiety even on the indica, and what I realized was my insistence on the outcome. Instead of looking at the marijuana as a medicine, that it wants to show me something, it wants to show me an experience. And I went, whoa, okay, so if I'm having anxiety, then that's what it wants to show me. And I need to get out of the egocentric thought of, I know how to change my experience. And I just completely let the medicine, and it's like, okay, anxiety, you're here. What do you want me to do with you? And what I started to do was, as soon as I started doing that, I'd go and lay down, I would take breaths, and I would put my attention on the anxiety. So what I wanted to do, so I kind of think of it, and I'm trying to make maybe there'll be the graph in this video, but it's kind of like it comes in little waves. So what I would do is I would meditate on, or just put my awareness, don't even have to say meditate, just put your awareness on the spikes, the little subtle spikes in this energy as it goes through. And what I began to understand was, when the spikes would go up, my head noise would get louder, meaning that I would be wanting to run, I would be wanting to struggle, I would wanting to, oh my God, I can't wait to tell my buddy that, God, I just got total anxiety, and I'm never doing that again. And so what I ended up doing was I started focusing, because trying to tame the mind is not it's all reasoning up in the mind. And so all the mind does is it says, this is uncomfortable, this is uncomfortable, this is unfamiliar, this is uncomfortable, this is unfamiliar. And what I did was I didn't go to war with my mind. I actually put my mind to work. So as I noticed, and I would lay there and I would just feel these little subtle spikes in my anxiety and this uncomfortable, unfamiliar sensation, and I would breathe into it, but I focused my attention on the spikes, on the level of the anxiety that was coming in. And eventually, after practicing this long enough, I basically would just, instead of having this big story of all the thoughts that came up from the anxiety, what I would have is I would find space in those spikes. And then it just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the anxiety. So basically what I realized what I was doing was I was moving into the anxiety and just being like, okay, this is meant for me. And it was this process that I started to feel this clarity come in, and then with a little bit of practice, it's only a couple of seconds sometimes now, I just feel some anxiety coming up. I can just stop, close my eyes, and be like, and now I have a different relationship with it. I don't say it's anxiety, something I need to work on in the outside world. I look at it, my anxiety now, as a stretching machine, as a signal that is readying me for a new vibration, a new frequency. And so when it arises, and now it just arises in these weird little spaces, I'll be up in cloud 9 in La La Land, just enjoying things. And then all of a sudden, I'll just be like, ooh, I don't feel right. And I just take a moment, put my attention on the waves and the subtleness, and I breathe. And this integration process has just been had such a huge impact on my experience. And I always feel a higher level of clarity going through this process of integrating. Because if you imagine, if you're not doing this, if you're always reacting to your anxiety, to these new frequencies coming in, you're always going to be coming up with some story about, I'm spiritual, so I need to get rid of my anxiety, and my anxiety shouldn't be here. Those are all just stories. And that's what people do, is they take their anxiety and their reaction to the anxiety, and then they just bring it into their reality. They tell all their friends about it. They share everything. They make stories about their anxiety. They're the ones, if you've ever met somebody, it's like you meet them and it's the first thing they want to tell you is, hey, I just want to let you know that I get really anxious. I've got ADHD, and, so if I act weird, it's like, you don't have to validate yourself. You don't have to explain yourself. That's the beautiful thing about Paradigm B, is you don't have to do those kind of things when you start to integrate. And so really understanding the difference between integrating and processing. And so many people are processing and they're stuck. They feel sluggish, and it's basically their path becomes an identity builder. It feels like work, because it's always trying to upgrade themselves and their relationship to anxiety, instead of just integrating it and having it be a part of reality. Because it is I thought after a while I'd be like, oh, this would be that, like, this isn't a part of the human experience. It still remains a part of the human experience, but are you responding to it, or are you reacting to it? And that's the beautiful thing. Once you get to a neutral state, you can find this, and it's much easier. The process of integrating is so much easier once you start using very, very strong language with yourself, basically saying that these are signals, telling yourself these are signals, rather than, oh no, here I am, a victim again of my own anxiety. We're all going through this. It's part of the ache of being human. but we can integrate these. And that integration is the most beautiful part, is because this integration shows us our healed state, our beingness. Because now when we work on it this way, what ends up happening is it takes off the edge on reality. It makes us, it enables us to be more present, to be more in the moment. And then the process is the same. So if you're in a moment and that anxiety comes up, it just happened to me the other day. I was on a phone call with a friend and the signal started coming in. I had to butt into the conversation and say, I've got a signal coming in. I cannot hear. I want to be able to hear what you're sharing with me, and I cannot hear it right now. And, so I got off the phone, and within 30 seconds, I had integrated that and back onto my day and doing what I'm going to do. So I hope you find something beautiful from this message, and I hope you find a really good relationship with your own anxiety, because it's not just the worry. It is the frequency. It is the adjustment of our vessels for living in a higher frequency and higher vibrations.